So we know that emotions are energy and motion, and we know how important movement is to our mental, physical, spiritual health and well-being. We know that when we don't move emotions through our body, we have a tendency to retain it and we store it. And that causes all sorts of, sort of issues for us, from sickness to depression, anxiety. So what doesn't get moved through you gets stored. We retain it. So we know that forms of physical movement include, sort of physical exercise, right? And that includes, running, walking, a sport that you enjoy, dancing, any kind of physical activity that gets you up, gets you moving, and gets those emotions sort of moving through you. But we oftentimes forget that movement can incorporate so much more. And what I like to do with my clients is I have this sort of terminology that I kind of created with happened during a therapy session, actually, and I call it my mentical fitness, if you will. And it combines mental, spiritual, and physical fitness for health and well-being. And I think oftentimes we forget the mental and physical components of movement that are so important. And that movement doesn't have to be just limited to physical movement, that it can be mental and spiritual. So sometimes some forms of mental movement would include journaling, would include gardening, would include playing a musical instrument or singing, or any kind of sort of creation of art, pottery, anything like that. It's mental movement. It's something that's evoking emotion, which is allowing you to move the emotion through your body. In the same way, spiritual movement can be prayer. It can be, to the God of your understanding, or to, sort of the energy of the universe. It can be Reiki. It can be meditation. The important factor is that, or the important fact is that we all add movement to our lives because movement is so important. But movement, again, can be more than just physical. It can be this focus on what I like to term mental fitness, and it can be physical fitness, but it can also be mental fitness and spiritual fitness, for the totality and a holistic approach to the idea of movement. And that's how I like to utilize some practical ways to get more movement into your life. So I like to look at it as a totality of a person. And if somebody is more, sort of aligned with being physically fit, I do try to encourage, this sort of exploration of some creative pursuits or of some spiritual pursuits. Again, I think it's kind of this trinity of wellness. It's the physical, it's the mental, and it's the spiritual aspects of incorporating movement into your life that's really important, again, in moving our emotions through our body.